They called it a flying brick, until it ripped through German lines like a storm no one could stop. April 8, 1943, 27,000 feet above Rouen, France. The air is thin, the clouds shredded into long ribbons by the spring winds, and slicing through them is a single American fighter, big, loud, and nothing like the sleek killers the Luftwaffe is used to. Oberleutnant Karl Fischer spots it first. A strange, swollen silhouette glinting in the sun. Wide air intake under the nose. A massive, almost ridiculous body. He squints, thinking his goggles are fogged.
Ein fliegender Ziegelstein, he mutters.
A flying brick. His wingman laughs. Americans are building tractors with wings now? The two Messerschmitt Bf 109s roll into position above and behind the newcomer. At this altitude, the sky favors the hunters, the light fighters, the climbers, the machines built for speed with minimal waste. But the American fighter below them, the P-47 Thunderbolt, looks like it shouldn't even be up here. Its weight alone is an insult to aerodynamics. 40 feet of metal that seems better suited to plowing fields than fighting wars. You can almost feel Fischer's confidence as he slides his thumb over the firing switch. This will be easy. Too easy. Below, the American pilot, Lieutenant Harold Hal Stevens, can't see them yet, but he can feel something. A prickling on the back of his neck. A disturbance in the air. Pilot knows when he's being watched. The Thunderbolt rumbles like a living furnace. 8.50 caliber Browning machine guns sit ready in its wings, each capable of spitting fire at 800 rounds per minute. But right now, Stevens is scanning the cloud deck ahead. Unaware two predators are already diving. Fischer pushes his nose down. Gravity grabs the Bf 109 like a falling hammer. Wind begins to scream across his canopy. This is what comes of arrogance. He calls into his radio. Heavy planes don't belong in our sky. But 500 feet below him, the flying brick twitches. Just slightly, as if its pilot heard every word. The first burst misses by inches. Tracers streak past Stevens' right wing. Hal jerks the stick hard. The Thunderbolt banks. Not gracefully, but like a freight train dragged off its tracks. Everything shakes. The cockpit rattles. This is normal for the P-47. Fischer smirks. Pathetic. He readies another volley, closing in for the kill. At this range, not even an American tank of an airplane can withstand what he's about to deliver. And then something happens. Something Fischer does not expect. Something that will change the way German pilots talk about the P-47 forever. Stevens pushes the nose down. Not a gentle dive, a plunge. First, Fischer laughs again. Oh yes, run. Run in that overweight monstrosity. But the laugh dies when he checks his airspeed. The P-47 isn't just diving. It's accelerating. Fast. Too fast. Fischer's eyes widen. This shouldn't be possible. The Thunderbolt's heavy frame turns gravity into a weapon. 10,000 feet vanish beneath them, then 15,000. The German fighters struggle to keep up, their wings trembling, their engines whining in protest. Fischer grips the controls tighter. Stevens, the American he thought was prey, is pulling away, not by inches but by entire football fields. The flying brick is outrunning him. Down below, waiting trains, fuel trucks, and German armored columns have no idea what's coming for them. No idea that the strange American machine, mocked, dismissed, underestimated, is about to become the nightmare that haunts their supply lines. But Stevens knows. He levels out at treetop height, engine roaring like a wild animal unleashed. Behind him, Fischer watches helplessly as the Thunderbolt vanishes into the valley. What is that thing?" he whispers. He will learn soon. All of Germany will, because the P-47 Thunderbolt is only just beginning to show what it can do. Down in the valley, smoke and fire filled the air, and one American fighter became every German soldier's nightmare. The forest rushes past in a green blur as Lieutenant Hal Stevens levels his P-47 barely 50 feet above the ground. The Thunderbolt shudders from the pressure. Branches snap in its wake. Leaves whip into spirals behind the tail. Down here, among the treetops, the flying brick becomes something else entirely. It becomes a battering ram with wings. Stevens wipes a streak of sweat from his forehead. His oxygen mask dangles uselessly now. He tore it off during the dive, ripping out of the suffocating thinness of high altitude and plunging into thick, roaring air where the engine breathes easy and the monster truly wakes up. Behind him, the two German Messerschmitts pull up. They can't follow him down here. Not at that speed. Not at that weight. Not with their fragile airframes trembling on the edge of collapse. Fisher watches helplessly as his prey disappears beneath the canopy. He'd never admitted aloud, but for the first time in his career, he felt something close to fear. Not of the pilot, but of the machine. The P-47 wasn't a tractor. It was a meteor. Down below, Hal scans the river valley ahead. And there it is, the target. A long steel snake of German tanker cars winding along the treeline, loaded with enough aviation fuel to keep an entire Luftwaffe group in the air for a week. Operations had reported this supply line for days. Perfect strike opportunity. But the problem was always the same: altitude. The Germans owned the high sky. Not today. Stevens drops even lower, skimming the ground so close he could almost reach out and touch it. His engine roars like thunder rolling through the valley. Trees bend in his wake. Birds explode from the branches in panic. The German train crew hears it too, a growing tremor, a vibration that rattles the rivets in the tanker cars. The conductor leans out his window, expecting maybe a damaged Luftwaffe fighter limping home. Instead, he sees something enormous, something impossibly fast. A silver giant screaming toward them with 8 dark gun barrels lining its wings. He barely has time to react. Stevens flips the safety covers off his Browning triggers. His thumb trembles with adrenaline. He steadies it, breathes, then squeezes. The Thunderbolt vomits fire. 8.50 caliber guns unleash a storm that sounds like ripping metal and rolling thunder mashed into one. Tracers tear across the valley, stitching glowing lines across tanker cars filled to the brim with high-grade fuel. The first car erupts, a white flash, then a fireball that blossoms like a rising sun. The shockwave rattles Stevens' cockpit. He holds steady. Another volley, another explosion, then another. A chain reaction races through the train, each tanker detonating with a deafening boom that rolls through the valley like artillery from the sky. Flames leap 20 meters high, turning the quiet forest into a searing furnace. From above, Fisher watches the line of explosions in disbelief. "What kind of madness is this?" he whispers. This was supposed to be their territory, their supply line, their control. But now a single American fighter, a plane they all mocked, laughed at, dismissed, was tearing apart German operations with a single pass. Down on the ground, German infantry scramble from their trucks, shielding their faces as fire washes across the road. Some dive into ditches, others simply freeze, staring in shock as the monstrous fighter loops around for another run. One soldier shouts over the chaos, "What is that? What plane is that?" No one answers, because none of them know. But they will. Soon the entire Western Front will whisper its name like a curse. Thunderbolt. Stevens climbs sharply, banking hard for a second strike. His fuel gauge wavers. His guns are hot. His heart pounds against his ribs. But he's not leaving yet. There's one more target, a convoy of armored half-tracks hidden under camouflage nets just beyond the rail line. He sees the shimmer of metal beneath the trees. Trucks, fuel drums, ammunition crates stacked tall. He can hit those too. He has to, because if the Luftwaffe learns what this plane can do, they will hunt him like no other. Stevens locks his jaw, steps on the rudder, and angles in for another run. But as he dives, something moves in the treeline. A shape, multiple shapes, guns. German anti-air teams scrambling to life. They saw what he did, and they are not going to let him leave alive. They're ready for him now. But so is the Thunderbolt. The hunters became the hunted, and the sky itself trembled at the sound of its engine. For a moment, everything goes silent inside Hal Stevens' cockpit. Just the hum of the engine, the faint ticking of hot bullet casings rolling across the floor, the rhythmic vibration of metal that isn't meant to fly this fast or this low, but somehow does. Then the forest below erupts. A dozen white flashes, the unmistakable bloom of German 20mm flak 30 cannons firing upward. Stevens jerks the stick instinctively. Black bursts pop around him like poison flowers. Shrapnel tears through branches, kicking splinters into the air. One round zips past his canopy so close it leaves a long white streak in his peripheral vision. "You've done it now, hell," he mutters to himself. "You woke the whole damn valley." On the ground, the anti-air crews scramble with desperate urgency. One team hauls crates of ammunition to the guns. Another spins the cannon base, shouting range estimates. A third slams fresh magazines into alignment. They're under orders. Protect the ammunition dumps. Protect the fuel. Protect the armored column. If those are lost, the Luftwaffe goes blind. Ground units go cold. An entire sector of the front collapses. And here comes a lone American fighter, a machine they thought couldn't even chase a Bf-109 uphill, diving straight at them with the fury of a falling star. Stevens lines up the run. He knows the Thunderbolt isn't made for elegance. It's built for violence, built to survive. But even a P-47 has its limits. The flak bursts tighten. The sky becomes a cage. Tracers whip past his wingtips like burning needles. Then, thud, thud, thud. Something slams into the underside of the fuselage. Stevens' teeth rattle. Warning lights blink. The left wing shivers, then stabilizes. He doesn't have time to check damage. He's seconds from firing position. Below him, German crews brace behind sandbags, eyes wide, hands shaking as the massive fighter drops lower. The engine scream becomes a physical force. Some flinch, some hold their ground. A silver giant screaming toward them with 8 dark gun barrels lining its wings. He barely has time to react. Stevens flips the safety covers off his Browning triggers. His thumb trembles with adrenaline. He steadies it, breathes, then squeezes. The Thunderbolt vomits fire. 8.50 caliber guns unleash a storm that sounds like ripping metal and rolling thunder mashed into one. Tracers tear across the valley, stitching glowing lines across tanker cars filled to the brim with high-grade fuel. The first car erupts, a white flash, then a fireball that blossoms like a rising sun. The shockwave rattles Stevens' cockpit. He holds steady. Another volley, another explosion, then another. A chain reaction races through the train, each tanker detonating with a deafening boom that rolls through the valley like artillery from the sky. Flames leap 20 meters high, turning the quiet forest into a searing furnace. From above, Fisher watches the line of explosions in disbelief. "What kind of madness is this?" he whispers. This was supposed to be their territory, their supply line, their control. But now a single American fighter, a plane they all mocked, laughed at, dismissed, was tearing apart German operations with a single pass. Down on the ground, German infantry scramble from their trucks, shielding their faces as fire washes across the road. Some dive into ditches. Others simply freeze, staring in shock as the monstrous fighter loops around for another run. One soldier shouts over the chaos, "What is that? What plane is that?" No one answers, because none of them know. But they will. Soon the entire Western Front will whisper its name like a curse. Thunderbolt. Stevens climbs sharply, banking hard for a second strike. His fuel gauge wavers. His guns are hot. His heart pounds against his ribs. But he's not leaving yet. There's one more target, a convoy of armored half-tracks hidden under camouflage nets just beyond the rail line. His plane is wounded, but the mission isn't done. Not yet, because through the smoke, past the burning wreckage and fleeing troops, something catches his eye. A bridge, steel, heavily reinforced, leading across the river to the main German supply corridor, and crossing it, an entire column of armor. If he can drop that bridge, the Germans are cut off for days, maybe weeks. But to do it, he will have to attack head-on. Through the smoke, through the fire, through every flak gun still alive and waiting for him. He knows what that means. He also knows something else. Something every Thunderbolt pilot learns the moment they survive their first dive. Sometimes being the heaviest fighter in the sky is the only reason you come home. Stevens pulls back around, sets his sights on the bridge, and braces for the fight of his life. What you've just seen was only the beginning. The Thunderbolt survived mockery, fire, and the trap. But the real test was still waiting in the sky. When the same German pilots who laughed at him dive back down, angry, prepared, and desperate, does the flying brick still survive? Or does this fight finally end in the air? Tell me in the comments, does power win or skill?